Hi, welcome to our final day of Peaceful Pathways. I hope you enjoyed this mini course as much as I did. It was definitely a pleasure to spend this time with you, have you here, as well as take the time it took me to prepare it, to research, and really make sure I was bringing the best strategies that I could to you. So thank you so much for being here. It's like I said, it's truly been my pleasure through this process. If you're just now joining us in Peaceful Pathways, make sure to check out my previous posts from the week. That way you can catch up and on all of the other strategies about managing stress in healthy ways. So, Peaceful Pathways is a serene environment focused on cultivating relaxation, mindfulness, acceptance, and awareness. I'm Michelle, your guide along the path. I'm a mental health therapist with over 14 years of experience. I'm an aspiring author, currently querying agents, a peacemaker, and an advocate for those without a voice. So, today we're going to be discussing yoga, which is a holistic approach to restore balance and harmonize our natural rhythms. We'll be talking about the historical origins and evolution of yoga, the physical, mental, and emotional benefits, how to use yoga as a tool for stress management, and even how to use yoga to restore our natural circadian rhythm, which is very exciting. So before we begin, I drew one last card for us from the deck Rethink Affirmation Cards for Mindful Life and Daily Actions. So today, the card that I drew was Letting Go. I lovingly release any relationships or experiences from the past that no longer align with my highest good. I embrace challenges as chances to grow and learn. Instead of becoming discouraged, I get even more determined to achieve my goals. Setbacks only make me stronger and more motivated. I use them as fuel to keep moving forward in pursuit of my dreams. How perfect is that I drew the card of letting go for our last day together? So, as we go through the PowerPoint for today and the article and the exercise, think about releasing experiences from the past that no longer serve you. Throughout this process, we've learned how to really stay in the present moment by being mindful. So, what a perfect day to really practice that. Really practice letting go, knowing that we have more experiences in front of us. So when we do experience those inevitable setbacks, just using them, harnessing the strength, the lesson learned to motivate them to help us move forward. On that note, let's start moving forward by exploring the historical origins and evolution of yoga. So, yoga was developed in India. It was a spiritual and philosophical discipline that promoted harmony of the body and mind. The Vedas and Upanishads are early sacred texts that really laid the foundation of yogic thought and practice. When I went through some yoga training, I was blessed to be able to read some of those texts, and I review them regularly, especially when putting things like this together. So there were different periods of yoga over the ages. There was the classical period of yoga that really laid those foundations, the texts, the practices that shaped traditional yoga philosophy and techniques. Then during the medieval period, it was integrated with mystical and tantric philosophies, which did expand its spiritual dimension and practices. And now, in our modern period, yoga has been adapted to global cultures, which really emphasizes the physical fitness and wellness part, as well as still holding on to some potential for spiritual growth. Please keep in mind this Peaceful Pathways course is not designed to be one religion or another religion or even spiritual in nature. It's more about the physical health and well-being that yoga provides. But it is important to know that if you want to use yoga to connect with a higher power, that you may be able to explore that in more depth in a different course. So, along those lines, like I said, we can use yoga for physical fitness, especially in the 20th century, which definitely helped it to expand globally instead of just focused in India and that area. So it became popular globally, and it's now respected and commonly practiced around the world. So, for that, there are physical, mental, and emotional benefits of yoga. As far as physical health goes, it improves our flexibility, strengthens our muscles, improves our posture because it promotes proper alignment of our spine, which can reduce some back pain. And then it also helps our cardiovascular health. It improves circulation, lowers stress, and it also includes some breathing practices. So that also helps improve our lung capacity. As far as our emotional well-being, it increases mental clarity and emotional stability. Yoga incorporates things that we've talked about already, the mindfulness and meditation to help calm the mind and improve our focus, our clarity. It also helps to reduce anxiety and depression, and it creates some emotional stability and enhances our focus to be able to concentrate on what we're doing throughout the day. It also supports our overall well-being. Uh, Yesterday, we talked about the mind-body connection. Yoga really helps to foster that connection by moving and breathing simultaneously. Those sort of practices really help cultivate the mind-body connection, and that's a lot of what yoga does. It increases resilience to stress by balancing our emotional and physical states so we can overcome hard times easier when we're practicing yoga. And it enhances our overall quality of life by increasing life satisfaction, vitality. So, yoga has a lot of benefits. And Peaceful Pathways is about relaxation and reducing stress. So we'll talk about it in more depth as a tool for managing our stress. We've talked about the parasympathetic nervous system quite a bit this week, starting from day one, and we'll end talking about it on day 6. So it does stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest part of our system, which again enhances that state of relaxation, reduces stress. It reduces cortisol levels, which is one of those stress hormones, which alleviates physical and mental tension. Any other harmful effects of cortisol are reduced through the practice of yoga. And then it also helps regulate our stress response, which can help us regulate our emotions a little bit better. So there are some popular yoga techniques. Yoga breathing is called pranayama, and that involves controlled breathing techniques to reduce anxiety, promote relaxation. So there's a lot of different breath sort of techniques that can be utilized to reduce stress. And then restorative yoga poses use props to support the body, which helps ease muscle tension and enhance that mental calmness. So, those specific sort of yoga poses can be really beneficial to relieve stress versus hatha yoga or hot yoga, which is much more active and involved. And then yoga also incorporates guided meditations to help with focusing the mind and releasing stress through visualization. So, there has been some scientific research on yoga's effect on stress. It is research based. So there is a reduction of stress markers like reduced cortisol levels, lower heart rate. It has been shown to reduce symptoms of anxiety through the processes of calming the nervous system, enhancing relaxation, and it improves our mood by promoting our psychological well-being and emotional balance. So there are a lot of benefits to yoga practice. One that I find really interesting is that yoga can help restore the circadian rhythm. Some people's circadian rhythms get out of balance. It can result, when our circadian rhythm is out of balance, it can result in like our days and nights getting mixed up. So it can really affect our day-to-day life. So it's interesting that yoga can help restore that. So as far as the circadian rhythm goes, it and why it's important, that natural rhythm, that sleep-wake rhythm that we have, it does help with sleep and regulates our timing of sleep and also when we wake up to make sure we're getting restorative sleep. It controls the release of hormones like melatonin and cortisol, which are necessary for body functions. Like melatonin helps us to fall asleep. It starts being released when it starts getting dark outside, and then it helps us to be able to fall asleep. And then the circadian rhythm supports physical and mental health, like reducing disease risks. So, there are yoga practices that support healthy sleep cycles. There's gentle yoga that we can do before bed to relax the body and ease tension, which really promotes restful sleep, that healing sleep that we need. Mindful breathing techniques calms the nervous system and helps prepare the mind for sleep. And then we can also meditate before bedtime to help reset those rhythms and enhance sleep quality. So there are a lot of aspects of yoga that we can do to promote sleep. And there is evidence, again, there's been some research on this, that regular yoga practice does promote healthier and more consistent sleep cycles. It reduces the frequency and severity of insomnia symptoms, and it helps to, like I've been talking about, restore our body's internal clock so we can get back on track when we get off. All right, so on that note, we are going to practice some simple yoga while we're seated. So we're going to do a seated arm raise with breath, and then we'll move into a seated sun breath, and hopefully you'll be able to see it as we go. So we'll begin by finding a comfortable seated position that feels stable and grounded. Place your hands gently on your legs, feeling the surface beneath you. As you breathe in, slowly raise your hands, allowing your breath to guide your movement. As you exhale, lower your hands back down to your legs, allowing the tension to release from your body. And I will set the timer for 60 seconds and we'll practice it during that time. Okay. So beginning again, we slowly raise our hands as we inhale and we exhale, lowering our hands back to the legs. Inhale, raise your hands. Exhale, lower your hands. Okay, and we're going to expand on that by doing a seated sun breath. This could be hard for you to see what I'm doing, but basically, when you inhale, instead of just raising your hands up, you raise, see if I can get it on camera. We raise our hands over our head. Um, so we inhale, raising our hands overhead, and then we bring our hands down on the exhale. So inhale, raise your arms up above your head, exhale. And you can go as big as you'd like to with this, all the way extended. Extend your arms out as far as they go, raise them overhead, and then exhale, bring them down. So again, I'll set the timer for 60 seconds and we'll go ahead and practice this part. Okay. So notice the serene state of presence and alignment with your natural rhythms. As we practiced the seated arm raise with breath and the seated sun breath. Okay. So in conclusion, yoga has numerous physical health benefits. It improves flexibility, strength, and overall physical well-being through the various postures, breathing exercises, meditations, positive affirmations, all the different aspects of yoga. It provides mental clarity, enhances our focus, and provides stress release. And then we also regulate our circadian rhythms through yoga practice because it encourages relaxation and balanced daily routines. All right. Well, thank you all for being here with me throughout Peaceful Pathways. It's absolutely been a joy to be with you. If you'd like to participate in our healing sanctuary this afternoon, just upgrade from your subscription from being a regular subscriber to a paid subscriber, and you should then have access to the link for our time together. So that is this afternoon from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Central Time. If you live in a different time zone, make sure to adjust the time accordingly. But we will be meeting to practice mindfulness, connection, and personal growth through guided practices, reflective exercises, and opportunities to share. So I hope to see you this afternoon. Otherwise, like I said, it's been an absolute joy and pleasure facilitating this course, being your guide along the path through peaceful pathways, starting from Monday and concluding today. If you enjoyed this course, I have a longer, more in-depth course that is 7 weeks, beginning October 13th and running through November 19th, called Awakening Tranquility. I'll have a link for that in this post. So make sure to check that out. That's building and expanding on what we've already done. There will be some repeats in the material, but then there will also be more material as well, plus a weekly live session. So awakening tranquility will cultivate a more peaceful, centered, and relaxed self. Whether you are looking to alleviate daily stressors or seeking deeper self-awareness, this course provides you with the tools to navigate life's challenges with grace and ease. You can purchase the course at my website, hopepeacetogether.com. All right, thank you again, and I hope to see you this afternoon. Bye.